At the banquet, I mistakenly drank spiked wine. Burning with a feverish heat and racked with discomfort, I resolved to find my childhood sweetheart, the young Marquis. Suddenly, floating text appeared before my eyes. Sis, don't be foolish, you'll feel good tonight. But tomorrow morning you'll face the mad tyrant male lead's humiliation. He'll have no choice but to marry you, then blame you for driving the female lead away, on your wedding night. He'll even make a beggar take his place in the bridal chamber. Supporting actress, don't be stupid, go find your neighbor, the unattainable cousin next door. His hidden room houses 1,000 paintings of you, every pose imaginable. Some people truly deserve to miss out on sis, acting all high and mighty, ignoring her by day, yet by night, succumbing to his obsession, sobbing her name uncontrollably, serves him right, trembling uncontrollably. I rapped on the door of my cousin's room, he who was always as noble and pure as the moon, an embodiment of dignified abstinence. Thirst, my throat was parched raw, tears streamed down my face against my will. It wasn't water I craved, I ached to borrow someone's cool body temperature. To quell the scorching fire raging within me, the wine was definitely spiked. My vision blurred as I scanned the faces at the banquet. Who on earth had drugged me, plotting to make me disgrace myself in public? To ruin my reputation completely, I bit down hard on my lip, using the pain to cling to my last shred of sanity. Stumbling unsteadily, I fled to find Pei Yi, my childhood companion who'd attended the banquet with me. Beneath the moonlight, behind a bamboo grove, Pei Yi stood with another woman. Before I could call out his name, clinging to him like a drowning person to a lifeline, my voice trembling and weak, those strange floating words flashed before my eyes again. A bone-deep chill washed over me. So intense, it even overpowered the searing heat spreading across my skin. I recognized the woman beside Pei Yi. She was the daughter of Grand Tutor Shen Yanqi, a talented beauty renowned throughout the land, pure and elegant, erudite and accomplished. She must be the female lead mentioned in those floating texts. The white moonlight Pei Yi adored yet dared not defile. Young Marquis, why aren't you keeping Miss Jiang company? The cool evening breeze roused me slightly, allowing me to hear his words clearly, laced with irritation and utter indifference. You mean Jiang Su? She's nothing but a pretty face, a complete idiot, clinging to my side all these years, acting so possessively that she won't let any other woman come near me. I've long grown tired of her. She even thinks she can marry me just because our families are old friends, as if I'd ever take her as my wife. Shen Yanqi smiled gently, with refined grace. Young Marquis, if you don't wish to marry her, then what kind of woman would you choose? Pei Yi discarded his usual recklessness, his tone turning earnest. At the very least, someone like you, dignified and poised, graceful in every gesture, a woman I can marry to manage my household and support my family. Just moments ago, I'd been half convinced, half doubtful of those floating words, but hearing Pei Yi say such cruel things with my own ears, my eyes burned uncontrollably. A sharp, stabbing pain twisted in my heart, swelling until it felt like it would burst. The drug's effects surged through my body in waves, leaving me no room to catch my breath. I couldn't turn to Pei Yi. Was I really going to beg that man for help, though he was my distant cousin? He held the esteemed position of Prime Minister, as pure and unyielding as snow on plum blossoms, cold and aloof. I'd never seen him bow or yield to anyone. Every time I saw him, his sharp, icy aura had intimidated me so much that I dared not even lift my head, only daring to whisper softly, "Cousin," and I'd never received a response from him. Rong Yu Chen, as cold and distant as snow on a mountain peak. Could it be true, as those texts claimed, that every night he cried out my name? My ears burned instantly. My blood felt like scalding oil ignited by a spark, itching so fiercely it seeped into the very marrow of my bones. Resolving to take the plunge, I turned to leave. But my foot crushed a dry branch, the crisp snap cutting through the conversation of the two behind the bamboo grove. "Who's there?" Pei Yi's sharp gaze shot toward me. My eyes glistened with unshed tears. I rubbed the hem of my skirt anxiously, my body racked with discomfort. When Pei Yi saw it was me, his sharp brows furrowed deeply, his thin lips moving as he sneered coldly. "Jiang Su, must you cling to me so relentlessly? The moment I leave your side, you come chasing after me. His expression turned dark and menacing. Can't I even have a conversation with Miss Shen in peace? You're so petty and jealous, no man in his right mind would dare marry you. When I opened my mouth, my voice was so soft it dripped like water. It's not like that, I'm just not feeling well, I didn't mean to cling to you. Shen Yunqi spoke up, her tone gentle and perfectly poised. It's all right, since Miss Jiang isn't feeling well, young Marquis, you should go attend to her first. Pei Yi dismissed her words with a scoff, completely unconcerned. Jiang Su, stop faking illness. Can't you come up with a more original excuse? Every time another woman appears by my side, you throw a fit. Last time it was losing your jade bracelet, this time it's some vague discomfort. Pei Yi stepped forward, grabbing my wrist roughly, but the moment his fingers touched my skin, he froze in panic, his brows knitting tightly. Why are you so hot? Did you catch a cold and come down with a high fever? The scent of Pei Yi's cologne filled my nostrils. I could barely contain myself, my legs buckling as I nearly collapsed into his arms. I'd endured for so long, the drug's effects grew stronger by the second. My blood and bones felt as if they were being gnawed at by 1,000 ants. Just then, the floating texts flashed again. No, no, sis, don't let him touch you. If you fall into this madman's clutches, you'll be ruined for life. This bastard, he'll enjoy every second of it, then turn around and claim you seduced and forced him. Later, the two of them will have their toxic second-chance romance, while you, the tool, get kicked out of the Marquis's mansion to make room for the female lead, dying of illness on the streets. After you die, your man of few words cousin will follow you in death without a single complaint. Can't you two just get together directly? Stop forcing this pointless melodrama with these two toxic idiots. I stared at the flickering words hovering in mid-air, frozen in shock for a moment. In the end, Rong Yuchen, cold, arrogant, and powerful enough to hold the entire world in his hands, would actually die for me. Just as Pei Yi was about to sweep me off my feet in his arms, I screamed at the top of my lungs, "Don't touch me, I'm not feeling unwell anymore." Pei Yi frowned, his patience wearing thin. Jiangsu, what on earth are you plotting? Do you find it amusing to toy with people's feelings? Typical, faking illness just to get my attention. Pei Yi let out a scathing laugh. Jiangsu, when will you ever grow up? When will you learn to be as virtuous and steady as Miss Shen? I dug my nails into my palms so hard, they drew blood. My lips were covered in tiny bite marks, but I dared not make a sound, terrified that if I opened my mouth, a moan would escape. Pei Yi left me stranded where I stood, turning on his heel and walking away without a second glance. I stumbled to the guest room where Rong Yuchen, the current Prime Minister, was resting. My fingers trembled violently, shakily. I knocked on his door. A long time passed, so long that I was on the verge of losing control, ready to push the door open and barge in. Finally, a pair of long, strong, well-defined fingers pulled the door open. "Miss Jiang. Did you knock on the wrong door? This isn't the Marquis's mansion. It's late at night, there's no one here you're looking for." His voice was as clear and cold as water, like the chime of jade striking against ice. The blazing fire within my body was quenched for a split second, only to flare up again even more fiercely. The floating texts boiled with excitement. "He cares so much. Every night you don't come to him. Does he cry into his pillow secretly? Then write Pei Yi's name on the soles of his shoes and step on it viciously. Sis, don't be fooled by his unattainable facade. He's actually a total crybaby. Every time you call him cousin, his fingers tremble with excitement. Later, bite his ear and keep calling him cousin, it'll drive him wild." The words flickering non-stop in the air blurred before my tear-filled eyes. The only thing I could see clearly was Rong Yuchen, looking as pure and untouchable as a saint. Dressed simply in a white inner robe, his distinct, delicate collarbones were exposed, his soft, jet-black hair cascaded down to his waist, perfectly neat, his entire body exuding the cool, refreshing scent of sandalwood and jade. I couldn't help but crave to drag him down from his lofty pedestal, to pull him into the depths of the mortal world, to sully him thoroughly, to see him with red-rimmed eyes, shedding tears uncontrollably. My gaze trailed down from his collarbones to his lean, trim waist. Then lower, Chen finally noticed that something was terribly wrong with me, his cool palm pressed against my forehead. What's wrong with you? You're burning up, are you ill? The coldness in Chen's voice softened, laced with a hint of barely detectable concern. Standing this close to him, the fresh, cool scent of jade and sandalwood filled my nostrils. It was like an addictive drug. My heart hammered wildly in my chest, the room spun around me, and I could no longer stand upright. My legs gave way beneath me. Instinctively, I grabbed hold of his cool, slender fingers. My voice spilled out, soft and breathless, barely a whisper. Cousin, I choked out, my voice trembling with unbearable longing, tears streaming down my face. The man whose hand I'd seized froze for a moment, but he did not pull away. He let me cling tightly to him, my fingers intertwining with his. I'm in so much pain. Please help me. I needed him to pull me into his arms, to press his cold lips against mine and quench my burning thirst. The floating texts flickered wildly. Sis is such a quick learner, she deserves to get what she wants. Look at the unattainable flower's ears. They're so red, I'm practically blinded. You're holding Sis up with one hand, your other hand is free. What are you waiting for? Do something. This is the first time Sis has come to him. He's probably so happy his short-circuiting, terrified his dark, twisted true self will scare her away. Where's my squad to force their heads together? Hurry up and glue their mouths shut with superglue. Sewer, do you see clearly who I am? Yes, I did. He was Chen. He was the one I'd come to find from the very beginning. Sewer, once you've tempted me, there's no turning back. I bit down hard on my lip, tears spilling down my cheeks. Cousin, please help me, quickly. I don't regret it. Chen's cold, clear eyes darkened instantly, like a beast lying in wait, ready to devour its prey. The calloused pad of his thumb brushed gently against the corner of my eye, wiping away my tears. His tear-stained fingers brushed my lips, smudging the faint traces of blood. He lowered his head, his lips met mine. The cool, woody scent of sandalwood jade on his body flooded my senses, consuming every thought in my mind. Behind my eyelids, brilliant fireworks exploded one after another. That unattainable flower is so skilled. This is a kiss of blood and tears. What could our brother possibly do wrong? He just loves his sister too much. Rather than letting that mad tyrant male lead kidnap and bully our girl, he might as well make the first move and turn her into his wife. Kiss her senseless. Make her forget all about anyone else. My legs buckled beneath me, and I clutched Chen's lapels tightly, leaving crumpled creases in the fabric. Cousin, can we go to the bed? I whispered, my voice trembling. Standing like this was pure torture. My lips burned, tingling with numbness. My heartbeat thundered in my ears, loud enough to hurt. When I finished speaking, breathless, Chen suddenly pulled his hand away, his pupils contracting sharply. Damn it, he's enjoying this way too much. He almost let his true colors slip. That split second of possessiveness and loss of control was chef's kiss . Girl, you're being way too straightforward. You're gonna kill him. Everyone, let's collectively lose our minds. Bye-bye, sanity. Sis upstairs, this isn't a dead zone. Keep it PG-13. Cousin, I slumped weakly against his chest, lifting my dazed eyes to meet his. A glimmer of cold, rational clarity returned to his gaze. He leaned in, his lips brushing my earlobe, his voice husky and low. Sewer, do you like cousin? I like you. I gasped, my throat parched with a desperate thirst. What you say now doesn't count. Little liar, he murmured, his voice dropping even lower. You just want me to cure you of the poison. I tilted my head up, staring at his lips, now glistening with a hint of moisture from our kiss, longing to press my mouth to his again. But he turned his head, dodging my advance. My lips landed on his Adam's apple instead. It bobbed heavily beneath my touch. Sewer loves cousin, I insisted, my voice trembling uncontrollably. Sewer knows exactly what she's doing. The scorching heat of my cheeks pressed against his cool palm, rubbing gently back and forth. But it wasn't enough to quench the fire raging within me, a fire so hot it felt like it would melt my bones to ash. The floating texts went wild. I'm already fully invested, and this is all you give me. Girl, You're clearly suffering, and I can see his obsession is flaring up too. You two are each other's antidote. Isn't that perfect? Everyone, calm down. We can't push him too hard. Someone drugged our girl. They're definitely trying to frame her. If they consummate their relationship tonight, they'll be walking straight into the mastermind's trap. Imagine if a bunch of people burst in right after they get into bed. What a nightmare. We'd never get to ship them properly again. Our poor girl is just a little pawn caught between these two toxic idiots. She's nothing but a sacrificial tool in their story. This is ancient China, for heaven's sake. Sleeping together without a matchmaker or betrothal gifts would ruin her reputation completely. The fact that Mr. Unattainable Flower managed to hit the brakes at a time like this, I'm either really impressed by his self-control, or really concerned about his *abilities*. I took a deep, ragged breath. Glancing at the texts flickering in the air, gradually, I forced myself to calm down, squeezing my eyes shut to avoid looking at Rome Yuchen's face, fighting against the drug's relentless effects. Sewer, be good, open your mouth, he ordered softly. My jaws were clamped tightly together, racked with pain, but the man before me was completely unhurried, as he gently nibbled on the tip of my ear. His cool, slender fingers pried open the seam of my lips, slipping a bitter-tasting pill onto my tongue. The acrid bitterness spread across my taste buds instantly. I gagged, fighting the urge to spit it out. Rome Yuchen leaned down, pressing his fingers against my lips to keep me from opening my mouth. Don't spit it out, Sewer, he commanded firmly. This is the antidote. Once you take it, you won't feel this terrible urge to cling to me anymore. The desire still lingered in his eyes, but his tone had turned cold and detached. The floating texts danced across my vision non-stop. Girl, you've been ignoring him for way too long. Even now that you're throwing yourself at him, Mr. Unattainable Flower still thinks you're only doing it because of the drug. He's secretly jealous and sulking. If only you hadn't been so busy chasing that mad tyrant all these years. If you just spared him a single glance, he would have already fallen from his pedestal, bowing down to you long ago. The night you were supposed to marry that madman, he stayed up all night. His face cold and his eyes red, sharpening a knife over and over, but when he saw how deeply you loved that fool, he couldn't bring himself to do it in the end. As the antidote began to take effect, the burning heat and dizzying haze slowly faded away, but my heart still raced wildly in my chest. I reached out, hooking my fingers through the spotless sleeve of Rome Yuchen's robe. Cousin, kiss me again, I begged softly. He lowered his gaze to meet mine. His long, thick eyelashes trembled violently. His eyes fixed on my lips, and the corners of his eyes slowly flushed a faint shade of pink. What are you saying, Sewer? He whispered hoarsely. I looped my arms around his slender, crane-like neck, forcing him to bend down to my level. Finally, victorious, I claimed his lips, kissing him fiercely, exploring every inch of his mouth, mingling my breath with his. We kissed for so long, the corners of his eyes reddened, turning as pink as the petals of a peony. The cold, detached look in his eyes had melted away, replaced by glistening tears. Tsk, so useless. Our girl hasn't even pulled out all the stops yet, and is already about to cry. They say tears are a man's best dowry, Tilda. Just then, the door was suddenly thrown open with a loud crash. Here she comes, the toxic female lead makes her grand entrance, ready to stir up trouble. So lucky he hit the brakes earlier. I can't even imagine how horrifying it would have been if this mob had burst in just a little later. Outside the door stood Shinyanshi, her elegant, soft voice ringing out. I just found out that there was a villain at the banquet who spiked the wine with a drug. It seems that cup of wine was drunk by Miss Jiang. Her voice trembled slightly, as if she were overcome with worry for me. Miss Jiang seemed to have come here to rest. Everyone, let's go check on her, quick. We need to make sure she wasn't harmed. Shinyanshi hesitated, trailing off meaningfully. Her implication was crystal clear to everyone present. The guests at the banquet exchanged a glance, then charged forward, slamming the private room door wide open. They were all waiting to see me, disheveled and humiliated, reduced to the biggest joke in the entire capital. This was probably the exact same fate that awaited me if I'd gone to Peiyi for help instead, in front of everyone. He would have screamed at me, calling me shameless for throwing myself at him, seducing him into making a mistake, and then Shinyanchi would have left, her heart broken beyond repair. The moment the door crashed open, Rong Yuchen stepped in front of me, shielding me completely from their prying eyes. "It's late at night, what business do all of you have, barging in here to see my cousin?" he asked coldly, his voice like ice, when Shinyanchi saw him standing there. The faint smile on her face paled instantly, draining all the color from her cheeks. "Sua, why are you with the Prime Minister? I thought she went to find the young Marquis," she stammered, feigning confusion. Rong Yuchen's tone was icy and dismissive. "She's my cousin, isn't it only natural that she would come to me? Since when were Pei Yi and her so close? There was no matchmaker, no betrothal gifts, Miss Shen. Watch your words," he snapped, his voice turning sharp and cutting. "Do not sully my cousin's reputation." Behind him, the fingers of his hand wrapped around my wrist tightened slightly. He's still holding her hand, not letting go for a second, and is already getting jealous. "Girl, that poison you took is no ordinary drug. It won't be cured with just one pill. I beg you to be good and sweet-talk your jealous boyfriend. Otherwise, you'll end up crying and throwing yourself at him again later, begging him to kiss you better." Breaking news from the front lines: the toxic female lead is in position, and the mad tyrant male lead is on his way. Code red alert: Rong Yuchen, elegant, noble, and untouchable, had become a marquis and prime minister at a young age. He was the stuff of legends, a godlike figure whom countless people could only dream of approaching. And yet, here he was, publicly scolding Shinyanchi for insulting my reputation. As the female lead, Shinyanchi had never suffered such a humiliation in her life. Her eyes instantly filled with tears, which spilled down her cheeks one by one, making her look like she'd been wronged beyond measure. "I am sorry for the misunderstanding, Prime Minister," she cried, her voice trembling. "I was only worried about Miss Jiang. I had no other intentions. Miss Jiang is merely your distant cousin. For the two of you to be alone together in a room this late at night, it's highly inappropriate, isn't it? Prime Minister, you should also think about Sua's reputation." The floating texts erupted with rage. "I'm so angry. This female lead is such a two-faced schemer. I feel so powerless, like I can't even slap her. I'd bet my life savings that she's the one who drugged our girl's wine. You can keep your toxic mad tyrant, no one is fighting you for him. But if any of you dare to ruin our forbidden loveship, I swear I'll come after all of you." I bared my teeth, ready to charge forward and tear Shinyanchi's hair out, but Rong Yuchen didn't let go of my hand. Instead, his long, beautiful fingers began to stroke my palm gently, back and forth. It tickled. In front of all these people, he was teasing my palm slowly, deliberately, without a care in the world. It was so thrilling. The heat that had just subsided flared up again, ignited by his touch alone. Rong Yuchen fixed his gaze on Shinyanchi, his voice calm and steady. "What's inappropriate about it? I can take responsibility for Sua. I'll marry her." The floating texts exploded. "Mr. Unattainable Flower actually has a mouth that works. Protective cousin energy is unbeatable. Our secretly shipped forbidden love couple can finally come out of the closet and eat at the big table, not far away." Pei Yi's face was dark and terrifying, his cold eyes locked onto me, and he strode forward slowly. He pressed the tip of his tongue against the roof of his mouth, letting out a low, mocking chuckle. "Jiangsu, you've really grown some guts, haven't you?" he sneered. "You were clearly drugged, suffering so badly, and yet you'd rather come running to this heartless brother of yours than to me." His voice turned cold and sharp as he curled his fingers at me, ordering me over. "Sua, come here, come to my side. As long as you do, I'll forgive you for everything." Rong Yuchen's eyes darkened, his gaze fixed on me silently, without a single word. His eyes were deep and cold, like shards of moonlight scattered across the ground. He was hesitating. He was afraid. Too many times before, I'd run headfirst into Pei Yi's arms without a second glance, never sparing Rong Yuchen even a tiny fraction of my attention. He'd had no choice but to hide his feelings for me in the darkest, deepest corners of the night, feelings I would have never known about until the day I died. I tightened my grip on Rong Yuchen's fingers, pressing my body even closer to his side. "I'm not going anywhere, cousin. I'm scared, I only want you. That's right, girl. All you have to do is act a little weak and sweet-talk him, and Mr. Unattainable Flower will give you his entire life. Our girl has finally escaped from the toxic love story of those two idiots. From now on, she'll only have sweet kisses, not bitter tears. Okay, that's a little crude, but it's true. Pei Yi froze, his face twisting with rage. Jiangsu, I gave you a chance. Don't you dare come crawling back to me ever again, even if you beg me on your knees later, crying and pleading for me to take you back. I'll never marry you into my family. I ignored him completely. For some people, even sparing them a single glance was a waste of time. Pei Yi's gaze shifted from me to Shinyanchi, who stood beside him with red, tear-streaked eyes, silently wiping her tears away. He rounded on me, his voice dripping with venom. Jiangsu, what did you do this time to upset Yanchi? She took the trouble to come and get me, worried sick that something had happened to you. She was only being kind. Oh, I truly appreciated her kindness. She was just afraid that the scandal wasn't big enough, that I wouldn't be humiliated thoroughly enough in front of Pei Yi. And now Pei Yi was once again rushing to defend the woman he loved. Young Marquis, Rong Yuchen spoke up, stepping forward to shield me, his voice cold and emotionless. I dote on my little sister more than anything in this world. Who do you think you are, speaking to her like this? You don't want to marry her. Good, naturally. There will be someone who marries her and cherishes her as a rare treasure. Can't hold back the smile anymore. Our brothers like, you said it yourself, this girl's mine now. Anyone who dares to steal her, I'll fight em tooth and nail. On the 8th day of the 9th lunar month, it was the Empress Dowager's birthday. As her young niece, I had no choice but to enter the palace for the feast. My personal maid informed me that Shinyanchi was also among the invitees. Thankfully, though, the Prime Minister would be there that day too. Oh no, we're gonna run into that toxic female lead again. Girl, be extra careful, something bad feels like it's about to happen. Halfway through the banquet, the poison that had been suppressed in my body for days flared up once more, burning like a wildfire. Sweat soaked through my inner garment in an instant, my legs went weak and wobbly, my mind was filled with nothing but Rong Yuchen, his cool lips, his slender fingers. I bit my lip, then told the maid I'd brought to the banquet to fetch the Prime Minister at once. I'm behind the rock garden, I whispered, embarrassed to say it out loud. The poison's acting up again. Tell him to hurry over. I don't think I can hold on much longer. I slipped out of the banquet hall. Shinyanchi followed right behind me, dragging a strange man along to block my path. She smiled her usual elegant, gentle smile. Last time, because of a misunderstanding, I tarnished Miss Jiang's good reputation. I specially brought my cousin here to apologize to you. The man she'd brought with her kept his eyes fixed on me, his gaze undisguised and bold. I don't need your fake kindness, I snapped. Get out of my way, hurry. I had to find Rong Yuchen fast. Shinyanchi's eyes turned cold as she watched my retreating figure, chuckling softly to herself. Cousin, didn't you say you wanted to marry a noble lady of good standing in the capital? What do you think of her? There are so many people at the banquet. If we just let them catch sight of something they shouldn't. Look at how flushed Jiangsu's face is. Clearly, the poison in her body hasn't been fully cured yet. She's probably gone to find some random man to help her again. If you can find her before that man shows up, cousin, do you think you'll still have trouble marrying the legitimate young lady of the Jiang family? The floating texts flickered non-stop before my eyes. Toxic female lead. Do you feel restless if you don't stir up trouble for a day? If you're that itchy, go grab a fly swatter and pat yourself instead. Where's our girl's bodyguard? Your sister's being targeted again. Hurry up and send those two toxic idiots packing, they're such an eyesore. I hid inside a cave, listening to the voices and footsteps growing closer and closer outside. I saw her running this way just now. The Imperial Garden isn't that big, with the poison acting up in her body. Where else can she hide? Shinyanchi's voice had lost all its usual softness and grace, turning cold and menacing. Cousin, if you want wealth and glory, then hurry up and search properly. The burning heat in my body felt like it was scorching everything away. I leaned weakly against the cold stone wall of the cave, my body sliding down slowly. But the person who appeared at the cave entrance wasn't Shunyunchi's cousin, it was Romyu-chen, dressed in his majestic purple official robe. I was completely drained of strength, my body soaked in sweat as if I'd just been pulled out of a river. His long, cool fingers brushed against my skin, and the touch was so comforting that I felt like I was melting into him. "Sua, hold on a little longer," he said softly. He wrapped his arms around my waist, pulling me into his embrace. Everything about him, the faint, woody scent of sandalwood jade on his body, the smooth silk of his purple brocade robe, was utterly irresistible, like a deadly temptation. I lifted my dazed, misty eyes to look at him, my voice muffled by tears and longing. "It hurts so much. Cousin, a kiss will make it better." Just like last time, Romyu-chen was barely holding on himself. His eyes were clear, yet dark and stormy with suppressed desire, as if they could swallow me whole. He refused to kiss me, so I hooked my arms around his neck, my fingers fumbling to undo the neatly fastened buttons of his robe, exposing his jade-white collarbones. First, I was burning up from the inside out. I bit down on his collarbone. The faint, warm taste of his blood filled my mouth. It was surprisingly sweet. Romyu-chen's eyes turned as dark as polished obsidian, pulling me deeper into their depths. He let out a low, guttural groan. "Sua, this is the palace. We can't," he whispered hoarsely. "If we leave the palace, then will it be okay? People are walking back and forth outside. Shunyunchi's cousin almost found this place several times. It's so thrilling, I'm going crazy. Can't do it here, then go home and do it, girl. Haven't you figured it out yet? Do you think your brother is a eunuch? Teasing him like this, you're gonna make his obsession flare up too. Hurry up and go home already. Time for the secret room plot twist." Romyu-chen took off his outer robe, the garment infused with his cool sandalwood scent, and draped it over my head, covering me completely from head to toe. He lifted me up in his arms and stepped out of the cave. I nestled against his shoulder, nuzzling his warm neck. He stiffened for a moment, took a sharp breath, then walked forward with his usual calm and composed expression. "Prime Minister, wait a moment." Shunyunchi's clear, melodious voice rang out. She couldn't see my face, but she had clearly spotted the untouchable Romyu-chen holding a woman in his arms. A flash of jealousy shot across her eyes instantly. She stepped forward and curtsied respectfully. "Prime Minister, have you seen Miss Jiang? She wasn't feeling well and also came to the Imperial Garden." I trembled in Romyu-chen's arms, pressing my burning cheeks against his chest. I couldn't tell if I was trembling from fear or from the pain of the poison. Romyu-chen's voice was hoarse and flat. "I haven't seen her." He walked straight past Shunyunchi without a second glance. Shunyunchi couldn't contain herself anymore, her voice turning sour with envy. "Then who is the woman in your arms, Prime Minister?" "I've studied hard since I was a child, becoming a talented woman, all because I wanted to be worthy of you," she said, her voice trembling with a mix of sobs and adoration. "I truly believe I'm more suitable for you than Jiangsu. I can be a virtuous and capable wife who supports you in your official duties." The floating texts couldn't stand listening to her anymore. Her mind's full of nothing but female rivalry. Does she really have to flaunt it so much? Which screenwriter came up with this female lead character? She wants to have her cake and eat it too. Turns out that toxic male lead was just her second choice. She's actually in love with the male supporting role, the Prime Minister. But he's a total sistercon. Tone down that two-faced scheming vibe of yours, girl. Romyu-chen paused his steps. "The woman I'm holding is the wife I'm going to marry soon. Since you're so insistent on pestering me, Miss Shen, I suppose I can let you take a look at her first." As he spoke, he reached out to lift the outer robe covering me, ready to let Shunyunchi see my face clearly. I let out a soft whimper, my fingers scrambling to grab his wrist and hold it tightly. Shunyunchi's eyes turned red with rage, her cold gaze fixed on the tips of my fingers peeking out from under the robe. Romyu-chen spoke slowly, unhurriedly. "I'm sorry, Miss Shen. My wife is timid and doesn't wish to see anyone right now." When we returned to the Prime Minister's residence, I was so weak that I couldn't even lift a single finger. Romyu-chen grabbed my ankle and placed it on his lap. "Sua, why are you so bad at taking care of yourself?" he chided gently. I tried to pull my foot away, but his long, strong fingers tightened around my ankle. holding me firmly in place. Girls shouldn't have scars on their bodies, he said softly. They'll ruin your beauty. Be good and let cousin apply the medicine for you. The residual poison in my body had flared up too violently earlier. While hiding in the cave, I'd scraped my lower legs several times on sharp stones, leaving deep cuts. His cool fingertips dipped into the ointment, gliding gently over my wounds. I couldn't help but shiver uncontrollably at his touch. Chen, I lost my temper, kicking over the ointment jar in a fit of frustration. A few drops of black medicinal juice splattered onto his fair, flawless cheek, when he wasn't smiling. He looked a little intimidating, cold, distant, and untouchable. Beneath his official robe wasn't just a tall, elegant figure, but also a man who carried the sharp, lethal aura of the imperial court, of life and death decisions made in the blink of an eye. But instead of being afraid, I grew bolder, pressing the tip of my toe against his chest. They said, I stammered, my voice soft and breathless, too shy to meet his dark, overwhelming gaze. They said that if we make love, the poison in my body will be cured completely, and I won't have to suffer anymore. The texts floating in the air had said he was obsessed with me. Were they lying? I'd never seen him lose control, not even once. Chen leaned in closer, the cool scent of sandalwood jade on his body making me lose my senses all over again. He brushed a strand of hair behind my ear. Not yet. Things like that have to wait until after we're married. I need to be certain that you won't regret it. As his lips descended to meet mine, he slipped another bitter pill into my mouth, letting it dissolve between our lips. He wants to get close to her, wants to possess her, so he's even more careful and gentle with her. He's so sweet. I'm crying. He always puts her feelings first, always afraid that she's only with him because of the drug. That one day she'll wake up and leave him, that she'll grow to hate him. Everyone, stop scolding our brother. She's ignored him for years. Everyone in the capital knows she's in love with that toxic male lead Pei, that they're childhood sweethearts. It's only natural that he's feeling insecure and anxious. Keep a close eye on your girl. Watch out for that toxic male lead coming to stir up trouble again. I slept for a very long time. When I woke up, Chen had already left for the imperial court. Sunlight streamed through the lattice windows, dancing in the dust motes floating in the air, leaving behind only the faint, cool scent of him lingering in the room. Miss Jiang, you can sleep a little longer, a maid said softly. The Prime Minister gave strict orders that no one is allowed to disturb your rest. I hugged my knees and sat there for a while, the room filled with his scent everywhere I turned. The poison had been temporarily suppressed again, but the only person I could think of was still him. Miss Jiang, young Marquis Pei is here to see you, another maid announced hesitantly. The Prime Minister told us not to disturb your rest, but young Marquis Pei has already been waiting for 2 hours. I didn't cling to Pei anymore, so why was he still coming to find me? Outside the residence, Pei stood under an apricot blossom tree, pale pink petals falling all over his shoulders. Like a layer of snow, his eyes were dark and heavy, so clouded with emotion that not even a glimmer of spring light could shine through them. Jiangsu, why did you come out of the Prime Minister's residence? He demanded, his voice cold. Why do you smell like him? I lifted my eyes and smiled faintly. Does that have anything to do with you, young Marquis? I'm just a brainless bimbo with a pretty face. After all, I said, echoing his words from that night in the bamboo grove. Nowhere near as good as Miss Shen. Pei, you should go find Shenyunchi instead. You two are perfect for each other. A madman paired with a toxic woman. I truly meant it as a piece of advice. I'd heard every single word he'd said that night. Panic flashed across Pei's face. I was drunk that night. I was just spouting nonsense after drinking too much. I never looked down on you. After saying that, he clenched his fists tightly, his knuckles turning white. But what about you? Why didn't you come to me that night, even though you'd been given such a strong aphrodisiac? Why did you go to Chen instead? You've always called him cousin. What exactly is your relationship with him? Pei grabbed my wrist roughly, his grip so tight that it hurt. Let go, don't touch me, I snapped, pulling my hand away. The poison in my body was only suppressed, not cured. Pei's rough handling filled me with overwhelming disgust. and the familiar burning heat began to stir within me once more. Pei watched the change in my expression closely, a reckless, mocking smile tugging at the corner of his lips as he lifted my chin with his fingers. "Sua, the poison still hasn't been cured," he sneered, "so it's true, he never touched you." As he said this, a look of relief and smugness crossed Pei's face. "Sua, come back to me. I'll cure you of the poison and marry you, okay? We were childhood sweethearts, after all. Go away, you toxic madman, our girls already stopped clinging to you. But you just keep coming back, are you that much of a masochist? Let's crowdfund some dish soap to pour on his face and wash off that greasy arrogance." I slapped Pei hard across the face. "Pei, don't force me to loathe you." Pei turned his head away, the tip of his tongue brushing the swollen corner of his lip. "Jiangsu, you've been spoiled rotten by Rongyu-chen, once upon a time. Your eyes and heart were filled with nothing but me." Just then, Rongyu-chen returned from court. His sedan chair stopped not far from us on Bronze Sparrow Avenue. Who knew how much he'd heard, how long he'd been watching? "Cousin," I called out, yanking my wrist free from Pei's grasp. I darted toward Rongyu-chen's sedan chair and slipped inside. The space was small, barely enough for two people. "Sua, did you enjoy chatting with the young Marquis?" he asked, his gaze calm and unreadable. Giving no hint of his true emotions, the floating texts went wild. "Girl, look at the bulging veins on the back of his hand. He's practically drowning in a sea of jealousy. Kiss him, and I guarantee he'll bow down at your feet. Remember this. Girl, the angrier he gets, the harder you kiss him, and you'll smooth him over in no time." "Really?" I leaned forward, pressing a soft, fleeting kiss to the slightly taut curve of Rongyu-chen's lips. He stiffened for a moment, the veins on the back of his hand standing out even more prominently. "Sua, who taught you how to coax a man like this?" Rongyu-chen smiled faintly, his eyes dark and stormy. Even as he asked, his hands tightened around my waist, pulling me down into his arms, which were wrapped in the familiar scent of sandalwood jade. "Was it young Marquis Pei?" He enunciated each word slowly, his jaw clenched tightly. I dared not tell him about the strange floating texts I could see in midair. "No," I said. "I figured it out on my own. I learned it by myself." "Cousin, don't you like it?" Rongyu-chen closed his eyes, saying nothing. He let me kiss his thin eyelids, his high, straight nose. The world spun dizzily around me. "Sua, don't tempt me so recklessly." His Adam's apple bobbed, and a deeper, more passionate kiss descended upon my lips, stealing all my breath away. After an incense stick's worth of time had passed, I lay limp and boneless against Rongyu-chen's chest, at long last. I believed it, the rumors were true. He had an obsession, an addiction to me. Every breath I took was stolen away by him. Rongyu-chen's arm around me never loosened. His other long, slender finger brushed the stray strands of hair behind my ear. "I've found an ice spring," he said softly. "It can cure the residual poison in your body completely." Waha, is the ice spring scene about to happen? Our days are finally looking up. This is the kind of content we signed up for, worth every penny of our membership fees. Goodbye to our sanity, don't come back. Inside the frigid ice spring pool, my teeth chattered uncontrollably, my body trembling violently. "No way, no way, no way. Is this all you're gonna show us, your honored members? Just soaking our girl like pickles in an ice pool, Mr. Unattainable Flower. You're just standing there watching. Where's your heart? Girl, hurry up and act cute, one little pout, and he'll be wrapped around your little finger." I glanced at the floating texts, clearing my trembling throat and speaking in a soft, delicate voice. "Cousin, I'm cold. I'm scared all alone in this ice spring. Cousin, come stay with me." Rongyu-chen pressed his lips together, saying nothing. Before he could reply, my foot slipped out from under me, and I fell into the icy water with a splash. The water was freezing cold, numbing my limbs, pulling me deeper and deeper into its depths. A second splash echoed through the air. Rongyu-chen appeared before me, grabbing my wrist and pulling me into his arms. I was shivering from head to toe. "It's so cold." His voice softened, his fingers gently stroking my wet hair. "Cousin will hold you and keep you warm." He took my hand and pressed it against his chest. His crescent-patterned silk robe was soaked through, clinging to his skin. rendering it almost transparent. Beneath my fingertips was his strong, beating heart, and the well-defined muscles of his chest. I snuggled closer to him. His voice came out hoarse and strained. "Sua, stop tempting me here. I'm not a saint, I can't resist you." On the contrary, he had an unspeakable obsession, and the girl in his arms was his only antidote. "In a few days, when you've fully recovered, I'll go to the Jiang family to propose marriage." The ice spring cured the residual poison in my body, but it left me bedridden with a cold for several days. I rested at the Prime Minister's residence, cared for by Rong Yuchen himself. As time went on, even my mother began to grow suspicious. "Sua, the Prime Minister is swamped with state affairs day and night. Yuchen is just your distant cousin, you can't cling to him like you did when you were a child." I remembered how Rong Yuchen had come to the capital when he was just a teenager, studying at the prestigious Louis private school. He'd passed the imperial examinations with flying colors 3 times in a row, topping the rankings every single time. Back then, he hadn't yet become Prime Minister, and he'd stayed at the Jiang family residence for a while. The first time I saw Rong Yuchen, I'd thought to myself, how could there be someone so handsome yet so cold? He was like a jade-carved Buddha. His eyes devoid of all joy or sorrow. It was my mother who had pulled me over and told me to call him cousin. From that day on, I'd called him cousin reluctantly for many years. He also had some kind of hidden ailment, which I'd stumbled upon by accident. Every month on the 15th, he would lock himself in his room and refuse to see anyone. Because of his outstanding knowledge and mastery of the 6 arts of a gentleman, my mother had let me study with him for a period of time. When my mother came to the Prime Minister's residence to see me, it was Rong Yuchen who stepped forward to smooth things over. He put on the facade of a detached, noble, and caring older brother. "Sua has been very obedient," he said. "She's been learning to play the qin here, it's no trouble at all. Once she's fully recovered from her cold, I'll personally escort her back to your residence." My mother thanked Rong Yuchen profusely, never daring to question the nature of our relationship. On the day Rong Yuchen sent me back to the Jiang family, Pei Yi showed up at our door with a marriage proposal. Old flame meets new love. This showdown is chef's kiss . I live for this kind of male rivalry over our girl. To a scumbag, the one who got away is always the best. He's cheaper than dirt. I bet that slap she gave him last time only made him want her more. Pei Yi brought hundreds of sedan loads of betrothal gifts. "Sua, please don't be angry with me anymore, okay? We've been childhood sweethearts for so many years, growing up together. Forgive your brother Pei just this once." It was the first time he'd ever swallowed his pride and begged for my forgiveness. Before I'd seen those floating texts, it had been me chasing after him, terrified of losing him to someone else. "Sua, I've already sent over the betrothal gifts," he said eagerly. "If you think it's not enough, I can add more." He raised his eyebrows subtly, turning to Rong Yuchen. "Prime Minister, I've heard that you are Miss Jiang's distant cousin. This list of gifts represents my sincere desire to marry Sua. I humbly ask you to take a look at it." I froze, panic flaring in my chest, and quickly spoke up. "I never agreed to marry you. There's no need to look at this list of gifts, take it back." But a pair of fair, slender hands reached out and took the list from Pei Yi's grasp before I could stop him. "Since the young Marquis is so sincere about marrying my little sister," Rong Yuchen said, his lips quirking up in a faint, mocking smile as he fixed Pei Yi with a dark, piercing gaze, "I will definitely take a close look at this list of gifts. I've also been planning to take a wife recently. This list will serve as a perfect reference. Girl, danger, danger. Your brother is about to go full Yanda mode. You're definitely in for a punishment tonight, and I don't mean the kind with a stick." I spent the rest of the day on tenterhooks, finally going to bed early and blowing out the lamp, but I was soon woken up by one of Rong Yuchen's servants. "Miss Jiang, the Prime Minister has summoned you. He wishes to instruct you on playing the qin." I rubbed my sleepy eyes, a sudden jolt of realization hitting me like a bolt of lightning. Tonight was the 15th of the month. Rong Yuchen was acting extremely strange tonight. My heart sank like a stone, my face falling as I asked miserably. "It was Pei Yi who angered him. Why is he taking it out on me? Can I just not go?" The servant sent by Rong Yuchen seemed to have expected me to say this. The Prime Minister said that Miss Jiang must not be ungrateful. He replied flatly, he has sacrificed so much to cure you of the poison. Fine, I'll go. I sighed resignedly. The room was dim and dark, the scent of sandalwood jade thicker than ever. Memories of when I was 15 flooded my mind. I had accidentally wandered into Rong Yuchen's room that day. He had just finished bathing, water droplets dripping down his jawline, his Adam's apple, his neck. I had suddenly felt a surge of nervousness and fear. The way he'd looked at me had been so intense, so deep. It was almost terrifying, as if he were looking at a prey that had walked right into his trap. Rong Yuchen had closed his eyes, his eyelashes trembling as he suppressed all his emotions. He'd scolded me harshly. His voice cold as ice. Who allowed you to come in? Get out at once. I'd been in such a hurry to leave that I'd stepped on the hem of my skirt and stumbled, falling straight into Rong Yuchen's arms. The scent of sandalwood jade had been overpowering. His skin had been burning hot to the touch. I'd lifted my hand instinctively, placing it on his forehead, and asked worriedly, "Cousin, are you ill? Should we send for a doctor?" But now that I thought about it, something about that day hadn't felt right. Every month on this day, Rong Yuchen would disappear and lock himself away. Who allowed you to touch me? His scorching breath had seared my palm, his voice hoarse and trembling. He'd reached out to push me away, but somehow, his hands had ended up pulling me closer instead, holding me gently in his arms. I'm feeling very unwell right now, just hold me for a little while. I'd held him all night long. His body had been burning hot, chasing away the chill, and I'd slept soundly and comfortably in his arms. But when I'd woken up the next morning, he'd turned back into that aloof, unapproachable Prime Minister Rong Yuchen. He'd chased me away immediately, ordering me never to come near him again. I'd been so wronged by his behavior that I'd cried for hours, obediently staying away from him from that day on. Later, Rong Yuchen had risen rapidly through the ranks, becoming the powerful prime minister who held the entire court in his hands. I'd followed everyone else in bowing to him, calling him cousin perfunctorily, the words empty and insincere. It was as if Rong Yuchen had never even heard me, until I'd seen those floating texts. Every time I called him cousin, it caused the fingers hidden beneath his sleeves to tremble uncontrollably. "Sewer. Play the cheen," he said, his voice so hoarse in the darkness that it sent a shiver down my spine. "Who cares about playing the cheen right now, girl? Go play him instead. TSK, men and they're playing hard to get tactics. If it's not gonna be a steamy scene, don't even bother calling us over. Don't waste your honored members' precious time." Those words swirling in the air left me feeling flustered and distracted, my fingers fumbling as I hit several wrong notes. Rong Yuchen stepped up behind me, dressed only in a white silk robe that clung to his skin, revealing his broad, muscular chest. No lamps were lit in the room. Moonlight streamed through the window, casting a soft glow over his body, making his skin look like warm, polished jade, irresistible, begging to be touched. "Sewer, you've made so many mistakes," he murmured, his breath brushing against my ear. "It seems I, as your elder brother, have failed to teach you well. How should I punish you for this?" In the dimness, his low voice drew near, brushing against my ear, tightening slowly with a dangerous lilt. I'm deceased. The tension is rolling right over me. Please don't stop." His palm covered the back of my hand, closing around it, our fingers interlacing tightly. For once, his body was burning hot against mine. Cousin, I breathed, my voice trembling. He coaxed softly, "Say it again, cousin." My fingers twitched uncontrollably. A shudder of longing rippling deep within my soul. In the darkness, I slowly made out the black veil draped over his face, covering his eyes. I reached out to stroke it gently. "Why are you covering your eyes?" "To hear clearly how many notes you've messed up." He evaded my touch, his voice hoarse and dark. "So I can punish you properly." The floating texts went absolutely feral. "He's lying. Every month on the 15th, he locks himself away like this. He's terrified that if he looks at you, he'll lose all control. At a time like this, he still refuses to hurt our girl. I swear I'm starting to wonder if he's been forcing himself to abstain from *** this whole time. What kind of punishment do you have in mind?" "Cousin," I asked, my voice barely a whisper. The poison in my body was already gone, but my blood still ran hot with a feverish desire. "Sit in my lap and play," he ordered, his voice cool yet laced with a hoarseness that sent shivers down my spine. "Girl, do you even know how to play anymore? If I were you, I'd sit there and play all night long. When do I get to be his little pet for a few days?" By some miracle, dawn finally broke, and Romyu-chen let me go. As soon as I stumbled back to my courtyard, my mother sent someone to fetch me at once. My eyes stung and my fingers were swollen from playing the qin all night. My mind wandering far away, my mother rambled on and on beside me. "Sua, you and Pei were childhood sweethearts. He's turned over a new leaf, come to the door to apologize, and even sent all these betrothal gifts. Won't you at least consider it? The Pei family and ours have been close for generations. Your social standings are perfectly matched. Besides Pei, it'll be hard to find a better match for you in the entire capital." I let out a lazy yawn. "I won't marry him," I said. "No, and I mean no. Girl, never take back a cheater. That scumbag can't hold a candle to your cousin. Rest easy, everyone. Mr. Unattainable Flower has already secretly prepared chains and locks. If she dares to run off and marry someone else, he'll lock her up in his bed and make sure she only has eyes for him for the rest of her life." I shivered involuntarily. Last night, it had taken so much effort to placate that jealous man. Mess up one note, and he'd punish me with a kiss. By the end of it, he was crying as he kissed me, the corners of his eyes stained with tears, yet he still clung to me relentlessly, over and over. He whispered against my ear, his voice a mix of breathless gasps and desperate pleas. "Sua, you'll never leave me, never. I'm addicted to you. If I lose you, I can't promise what I'll do. Sua, if you won't marry Pei, then who will you marry?" My mother raised her voice, exasperated. "Look at the entire capital. Who else is better than young Marquis Pei? He has power, he has looks. Who says there's no one?" I lowered my eyes, a smile tugging at my lips despite myself. "Compared to him, Pei isn't even worthy to lick the hem of his robe." My mother flicked my forehead lightly. "Where in the world would you find such a perfect man? And even if he exists, do you really think he'd set his sights on you of all people, and insist on marrying you?" She sighed, her tone earnest and sincere. "Young Marquis Pei has really turned over a new leaf. He's been pestering us non-stop, waiting for you to nod your head and agree. He even swore that he'll never take a concubine without your permission. If you miss this chance, Sua, you'll never get to marry Pei again." By afternoon, Pei showed up at our door once more, this time, with Shunyunchi in tow. She acted as his matchmaker, her voice soft and melodious as she spoke, every word dripping with feigned sincerity. "Sua, please don't misunderstand. Young Marquis Pei and I are nothing more than friends. We've only had tea together a few times. He sees me as nothing more than a kindred spirit, a confidant." Pei stood behind her, his eyes fixed firmly on me, never wavering. As soon as Shunyunchi finished speaking, he let out a sigh of relief, stepping forward quickly to place his hand on my shoulder. "Sua, did you hear that clearly? Yunchi and I are just friends, nothing more. I truly want to marry you." The floating texts cursed on my behalf. "Yeah, right, sure you are, just two people pining for each other, not quite lovers yet. Bet you'll rekindle your old flame someday, roll around in bed together, and toss our girl aside to be tormented by beggars. Any choice that isn't wholeheartedly hers is a betrayal. Our girl isn't stupid, she'll never fall for their lies. Now, without further ado, let's welcome our girl's protector." The moment Romyu-chen appeared, the entire front hall of the Jiang residence fell dead silent for a heartbeat. His eyes flickered to Pei-yi's hand resting on my shoulder, a cold, dark shadow clouding his gaze before he looked away indifferently. "Girl, are you really this oblivious?" Facepalm. "Perfect. Our Vinegar King is drowning in jealousy once again." I shook off Pei-yi's hand, walking straight to Romyu-chen's side and standing close to him, pressing my body against his. Only then did the murderous glint in Romyu-chen's eyes fade away. I leaned in to whisper softly, my voice laced with a hint of coquettish complaint. "Why did you take so long to get here?" Romyu-chen paid no mind to the onlookers, raising his hand to tuck a stray strand of hair behind my ear, his voice warm and hoarse with affection. There was an urgent matter at court that delayed me. My mother seemed to finally sense that something was amiss, her eyelids twitching uncontrollably. She pulled Rong Yuchen aside, her voice urgent. Yanchi, you're practically Sua's elder brother, help her make the right choice. Tell her if this marriage with Pei Yi is really a good idea or not. Rong Yuchen spoke slowly, deliberately, his tone calm and unhurried. I can't, because I'm planning to marry Sua myself. My mother's eyes went wide as saucers, her jaw dropping in shock. She slowly let go of Rong Yuchen's arm, her mind completely blank, unable to process what she'd just heard. Wenchi, what are you saying? He was in no hurry, waiting patiently for my mother to recover from her shock before repeating his words, clear and firm. It would be better for Sua to marry me than anyone else. I'll keep her right here under your watchful eye. Aunt, I'll never let her be wronged. Isn't that the best possible outcome? My mother stopped glaring at Rong Yuchen, turning to glare at me instead, her eyes blazing with anger. Sua has always been a willful, stubborn child. She's clumsy, can't even thread a needle to embroider a flower. How in the world can she be the Prime Minister's wife? The floating texts burst into laughter. Mothers are all the same everywhere, overprotective yet quick to point out their own child's flaws. To them, all the good kids belong to other people. Don't you dare talk about our girl like that. So what if she's a little clumsy, a little silly, a little bit naive? She's still absolutely adorable. Hey, you didn't let her off easy either. Shenyanchi's face turned deathly pale, tears glistening in her eyes as she struggled to hold them back. Miss Jiang is truly one of a kind, so captivating that she can make both the young Marquis and the Prime Minister fall head over heels for her. Pei Yi finally seemed to snap out of his daze, his face twisting with rage and disbelief. Sua, didn't you say you hated him the most, that he was nothing but a stuck-up hypocrite, cold and heartless, that you were afraid to even stand in front of him? Rong Yuchen lifted his eyelids lazily, casting Pei Yi a cold, dismissive glance. I had no idea that this is what Sua truly thinks of me. Oh, Pei Yi and his big mouth. I tugged frantically at Rong Yuchen's sleeve, forcing him to look at me, my voice urgent. It's not true, he's lying. I love you, truly, truly I do. A faint, tender smile tugged at the corners of Rong Yuchen's lips. Sua, you said that with your own mouth. My mother finally saw the light, realizing the little scheme I'd been hiding from her all along. My daughter is clearly already set on leaving the nest. You little rascal, when did you and Yanchi get together? And you had the nerve to keep it from me. I wrinkled my nose cutely, my cheeks flushing pink. Well, it hasn't been that long, actually, it really hadn't. If I hadn't seen those floating texts, I would have never dared to knock on his door in the middle of the night, let alone shamelessly beg him to help me cure the poison. Fine, you choose your own husband, my mother huffed, throwing her hands up in exasperation, too angry to care anymore. On the night of our wedding, after drinking the nuptial wine together, my courage swelled, and I stared unabashedly at the profile of Rong Yuchen, dressed in his bright red wedding robes. His cold, elegant features were like a masterpiece carved from jade, a faint flush creeping up from the tips of his ears, staining his fair skin. They say you cry easily, I murmured, my heart fluttering with a mischievous urge. Who are they? Rong Yuchen asked, a flicker of wary danger sparking in his eyes. I had no intention of explaining, leaning in closer to him with a grin. Let me find out for myself. Husband, find out what? His voice dropped to a hoarse whisper, his eyes darkening with desire. The mandarin duck embroidered bed curtains were lowered, the fabric fluttering as if ready to take flight. Our long-awaited happiness felt like a beautiful dream, the night stretching endlessly before us.